Hello everyone, welcome to Gary Mac Studio. Today's going to be the final day on this image, on this painting. I don't have a whole lot to do to it. I'm going to work a little bit on the path up in here and just a little bit around these houses in these areas and straighten those up just a little bit. Other than that, I'm not going to do a whole lot to it, and this one's going to be complete. So please subscribe to Gary Mac Studio if you like what I'm doing, and even if you don't like what I'm doing, please subscribe and hit the notification button, the likes, and I sure would appreciate it. So I'm just going to get started on this and finish it up, and I'm going to start another painting here in just a little while of some shrimp boats of pictures I took down by Galveston, Texas, over on Port Bolivar Peninsula on a beach there called Crystal Beach, and the ship channel runs right behind the beach area there, and the shrimp boats they stack them up in there and unload their shrimp boats, and I took some pictures of these shrimp boats. Here's the photograph that I took of these shrimp boats up in that ship channel, and we fished all up in these flats, and there's marshes all out in there, and gosh, it's good fishing up in those shallows where the redfish and the trout would come in there by the scores, and we would just load up on them. But this is the photograph that I took, and then I took those shrimp boats and put them over in Procreate, and I drew them. Actually, I drew in these shrimp boats. If you can, I'll zoom in on them when I try to zoom in on them if I can figure out how. Anyway, I drew these in Procreate, and I'm gonna put them in this. The sun was. I took a picture of the sunrise coming up early one morning. And we were in the boat, me and my two brothers, and I took this photograph, and I'm going to put it on the canvas. I think it'll be real pretty. Well, we'll just see what happens here. So I'm right here. I'm working on this. I'm working on this path, getting some shadows and some lights and darks, and I'm going to make that church bigger, and I'm going to add a little bit of atmosphere back in that area. And at the end of this here, I'll show a photograph of I'm not going to do much, if anything. I'm not going to do anything else to it. But I may change after I study it for a few days and look at it. Who knows? I change these things so often. I'll set them aside, look at them, and see some things I want to change, make it a little better. And on those pictures in that ship channel, boy, my brother and I were going down that ship channel, we were headed towards Galveston, and gosh, they were just, there's houses and boats and all kinds of stuff up and down there. Big, nice, beautiful houses, homes. And they had a dredge out there. They were dredging that channel because that water's about 60 foot deep down through there, and they have to dredge it every now and again to get the sand out that settles in the bottom of it, because it'll shallow up for those big those barges and stuff that come down through there. Anyway, there was this boat in front of us, and it was a pretty good sized boat. It was about a 36 footer, had a fly bridge on it, And he was he was probably 200 or 300 yards in front of us. And as we were going down through there and hitting my brother's boat, heading for those flats, we're going to do some fishing out in those flats around there, up in that marsh. And we were going down through there. My brother said, "Where'd that boat go?" And I said, "I don't know. He was right in front of us. There's no place for him to go there. I mean, you can't. It's not like you can turn off and go down another street. It just disappeared." So when we got up there, this boat it had run up on one of these dredges, and these dredges has these big old iron boulders around the edge of it, and this boat had run up on and knocked a hole in the hull of that thing, and it was sitting on top of one of those boulders, and the rear end of it was just barely beginning to sink down into the water. And there were two guys on the deck. There was a guy driving and another guy in the back of the boat there. And it kept sinking and kept sinking, so I immediately got on my cell phone. And I got on my cell phone and called the Coast Guard, and they, we tried to explain to them where we were, and that boat started sinking. And it was sinking down pretty fast, and finally it slipped off of that thing and it turned upside down. And my brother and I, if I'd have dove off to try to save them, I'd have drowned. I couldn't. There's nothing I could do, because they had disappeared when that boat rolled over, and on the bottom of the boat was sticking up out of the water with that big old hole in it, and the water was rushing into it. And these two guys, they were gone. And just a couple minutes later, both of them popped up out there beside the boat, and boy, they were in a panic. And they said they had a buddy was down in the bow of the boat. He was asleep, and they had been trying to get him out, but they couldn't get him out in the water. They had air pockets in there for a little while, and that's where they were. They were inside that boat trying to get their buddy out of that. But they said he's too big. We can't lift him out. He weighs about 400 pounds, and we can't. There's no way we can get him out. So there wasn't nothing I could do or my brother could do. And these guys were just panicking, and these boats were coming by pretty fast, coming down that ship channel, and the wake of their boat was splashing up on that boat, and water was running in through that hole. And me and my brother, we run out in the middle of the ship channel there, and we were trying to wave people down to stop, slow down, because those wakes from those boats are swamping their boat. And so finally, here come the Coast Guard, and he was going about 50 miles an hour in this big old boat, and my brother and I both were standing up trying to stop this guy. And finally, he slowed down when he got up there, but it was too late. The wake of his boat just splashed up against the hull of that other boat. And the fire department and the Coast Guard and everybody was there. Well, the fire department got up on top of that boat with a chainsaw and cut a hole in the bottom of it. And they couldn't get the guy out, so they had to call in a helicopter. They got the guy where he had his head out of the water where he could breathe. And when that boat turned over, that fly bridge was so tall that it had settled on the bottom, and that boat couldn't go any, it couldn't sink any further than what it was. And there was about probably 2 foot of the hull was sticking up out of the water, and if it hadn't been for that fly bridge, this guy would have drowned. But that fly bridge was sitting on the bottom, and it was holding the boat up. But the they had to call in a helicopter, and they cut a big old hole in the bottom of that boat, and they had to lift that guy out with a helicopter. And boy, that was I panicked. There was nothing we could do. And we wanted to do something, but we couldn't do anything. And but they got the guy. All three of them got out alive, so I guess that's a good thing. And we run into situations like that quite often down there. Anytime you go out on the ocean, you're on an adventure, and you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to come up. A sudden storm those squalls can come up in a heartbeat. But we'll get back to this painting now. I'm putting in a little bit of atmosphere around in the back of this, the back part of this back in here. I'm getting a little bit of all that sunshine, that gold-colored glow back in that part back in there. And I love these kind of scenes. I'm not real great at painting them. I like to paint them, and I've watched some of these guys who are really, really good at it. I just admire their abilities to paint some of those most beautiful, beautiful landscapes. I just love it. And I'm not to that point as some of those guys, but I'm learning. The more practice, the more I learn, and each one of them seems to get just a little better. I'm trying to slow down and take my time and do the detail that it demands. And it's not an easy thing for me. I struggle with it. But you know what? It is so much fun. If it's not fun, why do it? And right here at the end of this, I'm going to show a photograph. I just put it in a temporary frame. This isn't the frame it's going to stay in, but it's just one I've got laying around. So there's the image of the thing, and I don't know if I'm going to do much more to it or not. If anything, I may. I don't know. I like the freshness of it, and I think it's pretty. I may do a little bit more on that church to kind of straighten it up a little bit. But other than that, I think I'm going to leave it alone. Hey, y'all subscribe. Love you. Bye-bye.